stage, guys. Guys, go absolutely wild for the wonderful Scott the Redman Redmond. Yes. I'll start with a poem. This is a poem called Air. He took a deep breath, but sadly he was underwater, so he drowned. Thank you for coming, is what I said to my dad when I found out how reproduction works. It's great to be here in Edinburgh, in the United Kingdom, which we are still in. Forward to another 300 years of governments we didn't vote for, wars we didn't support, and Nick Cleggs that we just can't hit. We're looking forward to more food banks and more dangerously high-interest online food lending sites such as Wonga.yum. That's the only real joke I'm going to do tonight. It's not to say that an independence vote would have been better. I was kind of indifferent in the whole thing, because look at what we've done, like, in the Devo-Mac stuff so far. Like, 1 in 3 children in this country are in poverty. We have £1 billion. Let's buy a tram! I like your laugh. So these two men walk into a bar, and the barman says, "Why the long face?" And the two men say, "Scott, once, just once, can you try and get the joke right?" And I say, "I'm sorry, I'm going through a tough time just now. It's been a tough time for me." She said, "I had a great thing and it's gone. She's gone and she's not coming back. And I don't want to just stand up here and do these silly little jokes anymore. I can't." And the two men say, "Scott, we're sorry, we didn't realise. I mean, we can talk about it. Just do the jokes one more time and we'll talk about it when you get off stage." So this horse walks into a bar, notices an awkward atmosphere and leaves. Don't plug that. No, as you can tell from the very subtle way I did that, I just went through a breakup. Everyone who Oz just signed an audible contract that they have to sleep with me after the show, so thank you. Now, recently went through a breakup, and you know, I'm still trying to get over it. You know, it hurts, it really hurts. It hurts like a hand job from a lobster. I'll tell you why we broke up. It wasn't because I tell jokes like that to strangers. We were at her parents', and you know, her parents' house, and we go upstairs, and we're listening to the radio, and the song comes on. It's a Rihanna song. You know, you probably know. You know, "I want you to make me feel like I'm the only girl in the world." And she says to me, "Scott, this is a beautiful song. It's a beautiful sentiment. I want you to make me feel like I'm the only girl in the world." So I killed her mum. And she broke up with me. I don't. That's not really what happened. No, we were in bed, and this is embarrassing for me to say, but I started crying over my ex. And it wasn't the crying that was the problem as such, more the fact that my ex was underneath me at the time. Yeah. And the sad thing is, that's the second breakup I've had this year. I'm so bad at this. And like after the first one, me and some of my friends, we decided we were going to go on a lad's holiday to, originally it was going to be to Sweden. It was the cheapest flight we could get, just go to Sweden for a few days. But then I was reading this article in the Guardian newspaper, and it was 5 weirdest, most disgusting things you can pay for in Europe. And number two was in Amsterdam. You can pay a prostitute to have sex with a dog. That was number 2. In case you're wondering, number 1 was a year's membership with UKIP. So I was telling this to my friends, and I've got this one friend, he's called Nige. Give me a cheer for Nige, because Nige wrote the only appreciation he'll ever get in his life. No, he's a nice guy, but he's really bad with like the ladies and stuff. Like, you know, if he was around in the Wild West, he'd have unwanted posters. He gets rejected more often than Gary Glitter applying to teaching colleges. And so I tell Nige about the dog thing, and he gets really excited as we're going to Amsterdam. Forget Sweden, we're going to Amsterdam. So we do, and it's fine, but then, and he doesn't say anything about it. We're thinking, this is good, he's not said anything, he might have forgotten about it. Till a few days in, he has a brownie. Not a normal brownie. It's our brownie you get in Amsterdam. pot is what I'm saying. And he gets really excited, he gets really hyper, he says, the reason we get it was the dog thing, I'm gonna go find him, I'm gonna do the dog thing, woo. And so he goes into this brothel, and he goes up to this desk and he says, can I get the one that does the dog thing? And the guy says, what? He says, the one that does the dog thing. And the guy thinks, just go into the first room and see what happens. So he goes in, and I'm sitting in the waiting room, and it's like really dull, because in a waiting room in a Dutch brothel, you do not have like magazines, not like, there's no National Geographics there. And you know, I'm sitting and waiting for them, and these guys come by, and they're all sort of middle-aged, slightly overweight, sweaty guys in suits, and you know if it was in Britain, they'd be politicians. And they're just looking at me, and our eyes sort of meet, and they're like, please don't use this to blackmail me. And I really want to blackmail them. But, so eventually Nigel comes out, and he looks like really upset, and I say, what's wrong? And he says, the prostitute just turned me down. It gets better. So I think, this is hilarious. And I go in and I have to ask the prostitute, I have to ask her why. I said, why did you turn down Nigel? And she says, I make enough money to keep my dignity. And I lost it. And this is being recorded tonight. Nigel is not here. And he doesn't know I do these jokes about him. And he's going to see this, and I'm going to lose a friend. But I'm sure I've made friends with all of you. I'll finish with a few more poems. This is a poem called Dramatic. There was a certain stillness to the water. It was frozen. This is called Foggy Day. Every day is a foggy day when you have cataracts. This last one is a poem called Most. Most poems are more than one line long. I am Redman. Guys, the wonderful Scott, the Redman, Redmond!